The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101.
Ahoy! Let's go! We're waking up Chicago. Turn up the radio. It's time to start the show. On Q101 with the morning crew. Ahoy! Let's go! Welcome to the morning show.
Let's go. It is a show for you to get to some quality entertainment today. Besides this show being the quality entertainment, for example, at 7 a.m., we have a major concert announcement. Talked about it yesterday a little bit, and this is big. It's a band that hasn't been around a long time. My tease was that they have played Q101's Twisted Christmas, which I was not supposed to do, and got a meeting after the show yesterday about that. I'm still here today. It's fine.
I was going to say, how do things go there?
It wasn't risky enough to lose my livelihood and my baby not to eat. It wasn't that risky.
You're not a risk taker anymore. You have a child.
That's right. I like to dance on the line, but I dance too close on the good side of the line now. In the old days, it was the bad side, and you get fired.
Tell me more about the line.
There's a line you can't cross. And I like to dance on that line.
Yeah.
I like to swing.
You like to dance anyway. You like to swing dance on the line.
You swing dance on that line, and you're golden.
Yeah.
So, 7 o'clock, 55 minutes away, we'll have the first tickets to the show and the announcement of that show at 7. It's big. It's nice. It's good. You're going to love it.
It's good stuff. Plenty of speculation on the Q101 Facebook page as to who it is right now. You can leave your thoughts there as well.
I think there's like 257 guesses.
That's what we do, baby.
That's great.
That's what we do.
And then right after that, at 7:10, we'll get you into Clash with Kenzie. Now, Lauren O'Neill filling in again for Kenzie on maternity leave. So we're switching it up. It's going to be Riot Fest tickets. That's your first chance at them today. And you have to beat Lauren. We're not just going to give them out to you afterwards. So everybody listening will have a chance if Lauren wins. And she's on a winning streak.
Well, she won one.
Oh.
Which for Lauren is a winning streak. She needs all the W's she can get.
No, she already won one before. So did she win yesterday too? I can't remember.
No, she lost yesterday, I think.
Okay, so the winning streak's over. All right, that's a shame that the winning streak's over. But you beat her, you get Riot Fest 3-day passes. You know, all we know about is Slayer has been announced. They're returning after 5 years. The last time they played Riot Fest, actually,
right.
Before they said they're calling it quits. But there's going to be an epic amount of bands as well, if Slayer isn't your thing. So you know how Riot Fest goes. So we'll also have Riot Fest tickets with Ticket Puts Thursday at 8 and 9. 8 and 9. So here's the times to remember. 7 o'clock concert announcement. Riot Fest, 7, 10, 8, and 9. Put all those in your phone, and you are golden.
And then there's fun from 6 to 10 in between?
Oh, so much fun.
I've never heard you moan like that.
Look at this show plan. We're ready to go. But before we move forward, we got to move back a little bit. Kind of a couple pieces of sad news. Richard Lewis died.
I know.
Very funny comedian, and maybe you remember from his stand-up. I believe he's on a lot of sitcoms, but the main thing people remember most recently is Curb Your Enthusiasm.
That's right. That's how I know him.
Yeah, and he has been on a lot, just like in spots and little arcs of some of the sitcoms out there in the last probably 30 years. He was 76. He was fighting Parkinson's, but he died of a heart attack, which is probably related to Parkinson's. So it was a shock. He knew what was coming, but I think it was a shock yesterday. And I didn't even know this. Larry David and him were born in the same hospital at 12 years old. And they've known each other forever.
They've known each other since they were 12 years old.
Oh, they were born? Yeah. Wait a minute. That's wrong. Okay. They were born in the same hospital. They weren't aliens and dropped in at 12 years old. They were 0 years old.
They were 0 years old.
Yes.
12 years later, they met at a summer camp.
Yes.
They became friends shortly thereafter. And, up until 2 weeks ago, Richard Lewis was on the most recent season of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah, very funny. In fact, here's a scene is this the last scene he did?
I don't know if he's in upcoming episodes or not.
Because you're a little behind, too?
Well, just because there's more episodes to go. I don't know what's in the future.
Oh, I'm sure he is.
Yeah.
But this was one of the last.
This is 2 weeks ago on Curb Your Enthusiasm. It's
Oh,
very
man.
strange to look back at this audio now.
Yeah.
Knowing what just happened yesterday, unfortunately.
It really is. And this is a scene from the show of this season.
I have better news for you. I'm leaving you in my will. I'm tweaking it, and you're in it.
No, don't do that.
It's done. You're in.
I don't want to be in it. I have money. I don't need it. Give it to someone who needs it.
When I die, I want you to know how much I care about you.
I'm not going to keep it. I'm going to give it to charity.
You're my best friend. You're getting it.
No, I'm making a Sherman-esque statement about the will right now.
I'm sick of your historical references.
If nominated, I will not run. If bequeathed, I will not accept.
Well, I'm bequeathing.
Well, I'm not accepting.
You'll have to accept.
Don't give it to me.
Don't hurt my feelings.
I'm not going to keep a penny of it.
You're hurting hurting me.
Thank you, but I don't want it.
I'm giving it to you anyway, pal.
Oh, my God. You.
That's so good. I got to catch up on the show. I'm a little behind.
You're a season and a half behind now.
Oh, God, that's amazing. So funny. Like, even if you don't watch the show, like when you hear a clip like that, you just understand the relationship. Obviously, Larry David, the whole Seinfeld-y, because he created Seinfeld, and you hear that same angle of it. If you don't watch Curb, you're missing out on it. But wow. Sad death. Sad.
Right now on Q101.com, a genius. This is why the internet rocks. There's a genius who put up a 90-minute compilation of Richard Lewis and Larry David bickering with each other on Curb.
Oh.
That's now housed at Q101.com. So you can get plenty of Richard Lewis today if you need it.
Okay, go do that when you get a chance. But in the meantime, remember, these should be in your phone. 7 o'clock, major concert announcement. Tickets for that show that we'll announce. First person in, 7:10. Get on the phones for Clash with Kenzie for Riot Fest tickets. Ticket Butts Thursday continues all day long, every hour. Riot Fest passes, so we'll have it at 8 and 9. All that this morning. Brian and Kenzie, Q101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101, so 7 a.m., huge concert announcement, and the first tickets into that show, plus in the next hour, Riot Fest passes. Just stay right here with Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Lauren O'Neill will be in a little bit. Filling in for Kenzie on maternity leave in case the producer here. Time for a fact that makes your brain go. And like that. See, it's even a little late there on Leap Day. It's the 29th, Leap Day, every 4 years. And we got some really interesting facts about today, like things that have happened on today only that happens once every 4 years.
Can I ask you a question about Leap Day?
Sure.
What were you doing? What was going on in your life the last Leap Day?
So 4 years ago.
February 29th, 2020, pre-pandemic. It's right before the pandemic happened.
Well, I do vaguely remember that. Oh, I know what I did. I saw my Facebook memories.
Oh, wow. Okay, you got excited.
I did, because it was very rare to see your Facebook memories on Leap Day, because it doesn't happen very often.
That's a good point.
I went to my first Marquette basketball game up in Milwaukee.
Everybody remembers their first.
Well, the new arena up there. So I knew, was it Pfizer Arena it's called?
Well, that's where the Bucks play, yeah.
And the Bucks play there?
Yeah, Fiserv.
Pfizer?
Yes.
What do they do?
I don't know. I was hoping you would know. It seems like a grown-up company.
It's a very modern stadium.
And they're a financial services group, whatever that means.
Oh, yeah. Well, that means they have more money than you. And they talk to people with more money than you.
Well, Burger King employees have more money than I do.
Facts. Okay, so that's what I did the last leap year 4 years ago. That's a good question.
Yeah, because I just feel like even though it was only 4 years ago, I think we were all kind of drastically at a different stage.
Yeah. Well, now I'm really going back in my memories on Facebook, because if it didn't happen on Facebook, it didn't happen.
Hey, amen, brother. You lived a post.
Yeah. That's about it. I think I went to that Milwaukee Bucks game. I found a Blockbuster gift card in my closet. I took a picture of it. It was a $50 Blockbuster gift card. I did that, okay, on Leap Day. That's about it.
That's good. Hey, I would love to find a Blockbuster gift card. That's fun.
Do you remember what you were doing 4 years ago?
I was in college.
Oh, living that life.
I kinda, yeah.
Frat parties.
Yeah, you know me.
Keg stands.
Yeah, you can't get me on all fours fast enough for a keg stand or whatever.
Okay, you don't get on all fours for a keg stand. Case doesn't drink, so he doesn't know these things. There's a lot to unpack there, but let's wait here. And I wanted to give a little bit, maybe a little teaser. Some is music-based, some is like who was born. There's one fact, I think, that will blow your mind on a famous person that was born today, but also some of the pop culture stuff. This is weird. Somebody's glasses were found that was murdered.
Oh, wow.
That's all I'm going to say. That's a weird tease. I understand that, but you'll find out if you stick around here in just a couple minutes. We'll tell you about 6:30. We'll have that all for you.
I look forward to it.
Yeah, Leap Day. Facts.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
All right, time for a fact that makes your brain go. And this will be several facts about Leap Day, since it's Leap Day. A lot of people checking in, as Case brought up. What were you doing 4 years ago? Remember? And I remember going to my first Marquette basketball game up at the new Pfizer Forum, which was incredible. My nephew went to Marquette, and it's a beautifully high-tech venue.
With a Chick-fil-A inside.
It's really good. Always. Here for Sundays.
Can I say before you read these facts?
Yeah.
Jeremy texted in from Chicago.
Yeah.
He might have ruined Leap Day for us.
How's that?
I looked at this as a great day of celebration and fun.
Sure.
But he says, he makes a salary, so he's losing a day of pay for the year.
Now, that's a fact, by the way.
Oh my God, that's heartbreaking. I hadn't even thought about that.
Basically, it's a free day for you. You don't work today, so I say slack.
Oh, well, done and done.
Not us. We're going to work hard because that's what we do. You guys are building buildings, roofing, HVAC, crunching numbers, maybe working for Amazon.
They can't slack. I need them.
Hey, we need all that stuff. You don't need this show. You want this show.
Well, ideally, you need it.
Okay, hopefully you need it. Yeah, it is weird. It's not an official paid day. You just kind of work this day, and it's part of your salary. Now, if you're a part-time or hourly, I guess you get more money.
I guess, but man, that sucks. I had really never even considered that.
Well, I'm sorry, it's been ruined for you.
I know. Again, Leap Day was all fun. It was childhood joy.
Jeremy, never text in again, please.
Please at least bring good news next time. God, I can't believe the big man's getting one over on me.
Okay, once every 4 years, it's Leap Day. That's today. And here's some of the historical things that have happened. First off, let's go with some people that were born today. Did you know that hip-hop artist Ja Rule was born today on February 29th?
I can't say I knew Ja Rule's birthday.
Yeah. That's it. So maybe you know him from the Fast and Furious movies, other than his hip-hop career.
I was going to say, maybe you know Ja Rule for being Ja Rule.
I think there's somebody out there listening that doesn't know who Ja Rule is.
But only knows him as the Fast and Furious guy?
Well, I mean, or doesn't know him at all. Maybe you don't like Fast and Furious. Maybe you don't like hip-hop. I don't know. That's a very wide swath.
What, do you also hate puppies if you hate those two things?
I think if you... that covers everybody.
That has to.
Like, either you like hip-hop or you like the Fast and Furious movies, or you like both. There's no one that likes neither.
Because I don't like Fast and Furious, but you listen to the sound of my voice. I love hip-hop.
You'll dabble in some hip-hop.
What can I say?
You're certainly street.
I keep my ear to the streets.
Tony Robbins, the motivational speaker, was born today.
Okay.
You know who he is?
I know who he is. He's like really buff.
He's a huge human. He's like, I think 6'6" and buff. And he just tells you, if you just get up every morning, you'll make $1 million. Like,
is that what he says?
I think motivational speaking is the biggest scam on earth.
Look, there's nothing I hate more. This will make me sound like a bad person. There's nothing I hate more than adults who force positivity onto others. I am not a fan of motivational speakers.
Look, they say the obvious, but because like he's a huge human or they say it emphatically, it makes you think, wow, he's right. If I actually got up and got focused and went to work or got 2 jobs, I'd make more money. And I'd be happier if I took a day off just for myself. That's all these motivational speakers say. That's all they do. I'd be a great motivational speaker.
Can I back up for just 1 second?
Sure.
Was Ja Rule in Fast and Furious or was it Ludacris?
No, Ja Rule's in the first one.
Okay, all right. We've got a few texts on the text line. I've never seen it. I just want to double check.
No, I don't know. Ludacris, I think, is in them later.
Yes, because my mom knows who Ludacris is because he was in Fast and Furious. But Ja Rule played a character named Edwin in the first Fast and Furious.
Yes.
So I had to double check there.
I'm just going to verify so people know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. The first scene, the first race scene, he's in there, and the one girl says, if you, whatever happens in the race, you get me. But then another girl, if you win the race, you get the both of us. And during the race, he's yelling, Menage! Because he's trying to win to get a menage a trois,
okay.
You see.
I didn't know there was a human trafficking element to Fast and Furious. Good to know.
That's not human trafficking. They're all adults and they agreed to do it. No one was paid.
Okay, all right, good to know.
So Ja Rule, and I just Googled it for a second. It says, why? There's a story called Why Ja Rule Never Returned to the Fast and Furious after the first movie. So that's very sad that he didn't. And Ludacris is in there too. But yes, he stayed because you realize there's a franchise there to make, I don't know, $100 million for if you're just a side character, and $1 billion if you're Vin Diesel.
Well, like Cat Williams said, Ludacris joined the Illuminati because he was in the Fast and Furious movie. So thank goodness Ja Rule didn't do that.
The quote in the story, by the way, it says Ja Rule thought he was too big for Fast and Furious.
Whew, that does not age well for Ja Rule.
No, it doesn't. I mean, the first movie, they didn't know what it was going to be.
Yeah.
I love the first movie. I love them all. It's a great franchise.
I've never seen any of them.
The best franchise ever.
Wow. Okay. Weird. Heavy shot at Star Wars.
I'm taking a shot today.
Or The Godfather.
Okay, I might change my mind tomorrow. At this point, Ja Rule was born on Leap Day. There's a fact you didn't know about.
Backtrack. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
No, because that's a good point, because Ludacris is in it. But if you didn't see the first one, Ja Rule's in the car. And he does have a big role, but he thought he was too big. Anyway, let's see. Those are some people that were born. Some of the historical things that happened. In 1692, Leap Day, arrest warrants were issued for 3 women accused of witchcraft. And this is basically the Salem witch trials led to this.
Oh, holy cow.
Of poor women getting accused of being witches and being like drowned and burned and murdered. It was terrible.
Awful. That's really sad.
It was very terrible. It was the start of the Salem witch trials. That was the first thing that happened. And I actually don't know how long that went on. I hope it didn't go very long. I hope they realized, boy, these are just women in a mood. They're not witches.
Well, that's what I was going to ask was how were they accused of being witches? Did they like show their ankles or something?
That's another. I don't have that research ready.
Okay, all right.
No, it wasn't showing their ankles. I think they were just, again, it probably was some guy that got jilted.
Yeah, and they were just moody. They were moody women, and thus they had to be witches.
Yeah.
Well, if we have a witch expert, let me know.
I'd love a witch expert for the show.
I'd like to know more about that.
We have all kinds of experts on this show, but a witch expert we don't have. 312-591-8300. That's sad that happened on Leap Day. Let's see here. Baseball great Hank Aaron signed a 3-year contract worth $600,000 in 1972, becoming the highest paid player in history at the time on Leap Day.
That sounds like nothing now. Isn't that amazing to think?
$600,000.
Yeah, that's nothing.
You walk into a shoe store, you come out with one shoe today. Oh, come on, Hank. And finally, I talked about today on Leap Day, glasses were found of someone that was murdered. Okay, some figure here. Now, this happened February 29th, 1980.
Oh, okay.
He was murdered in 1959.
Not who I thought it was.
Who'd you think it was?
I thought maybe John Lennon's glasses were found.
He was murdered in 80.
Yeah.
Was it 81?
No, I think he was murdered in December of 1980.
Okay, so good guess. Buddy Holly, now listen, you might say he wasn't murdered. It was a plane crash.
That's what I thought.
We all know what happened.
What happened?
He was murdered.
Okay.
Do you know the story of Buddy Holly?
I don't. The only thing I know about Buddy Holly is that he wore glasses, because I just learned that.
Yeah.
And that Weezer has a song about him.
There's exactly, and inspired many of the bands we play on Q101, even though newer bands even will cite a guy from 1959. Why? Because he was 22 years old when he died in the plane crash and basically started rock and roll it was the first person. The Beatles are called the Beatles because it was Buddy Holly and the Crickets.
I did not know that.
They stayed with the bug theme there. How about that? Bring a lot of Buddy Holly facts this morning here in a second. There's also a great movie, the Buddy Holly story with Gary Busey, believe it or not, playing Buddy Holly. You think, how could he play him? You see the movie, he becomes Buddy Holly.
Is it good?
It's really good.
Okay,
It's
sounds
really
bad.
It's really old, so Gary Busey is young and thin and looks like Buddy Holly in the movie.
I can only imagine Gary Busey from the Celebrity Apprentice and beyond. Old, senile Gary Busey. I can't imagine him as a young man.
I love his arc on Entourage. It's great as the art dealer. So anyway, Case, I'll educate you a little rock and roll history here.
Please.
So Buddy Holly was on a tour, and it was in Clear Lake, Iowa, I believe it's called. I've never been there. I've wanted to go and see it. And the plane was going to take off because it was freezing. It was like a day like today, kind of, but below zero. But today it feels like below zero because it was 80 2 days ago. And their bus didn't have heat. They were all getting sick. So Buddy Holly says, hey, I chartered a plane, guys, for the stars. We're all going to fly to the next site. And that would have been the Big Bopper. He was got guy that kind of went like, a wom bom ba doo ba doo ba doo ba doo.
What did he do? No, Brian, what did the Big Bopper do?
He had a song that's like, wom ba doo ba doo ba doo ba doo ba doo. I'll find some Big Bopper in a second. And then Richie Valens, who was only 16 years old, and obviously incredible because it was a Hispanic rock and roll music star, and he has a song La Bamba.
I know that.
Oh, what a song.
It's a movie too, right?
The movie with Richie Valens. Richie! Great movie. Another great movie. You should watch all these and then give you a report on Monday.
All right.
So Buddy Holly gets the plane for the stars. Now, Richie Valens is kind of afraid to fly, and the Big Bopper, well, I don't know who's just going like, oh,
He wasn't calling the shots.
yeah. So Buddy Holly's Waylon Jennings, ever heard of him?
Yes, I've heard of Waylon Jennings.
He was also 20 years old then and was the bass player for Buddy Holly.
Okay, crazy. Did not know that.
Crazy, right? So he gave his ticket up. It was going to be Buddy Holly's band, okay? So then he gave his ticket up to the Big Bopper. The guy goes, he just said, you know what, you take it. You're one of the stars. I'm just a bass player here. You go. And then Buddy Holly goes back to him and says, man, you're an idiot. You gave up your ticket. I hope you freeze your ass off on that bus. You know what Waylon Jennings said to Buddy Holly?
What'd he say?
Oh, yeah? I hope your plane crashes.
Wow.
So I think Waylon Jennings murdered Buddy Holly.
It's hard to argue with that evidence.
But Waylon Jennings had a great country country rock career.
I love Waylon Jennings, yeah.
But he was also an alcoholic, a drug addict, died younger than he should have. And he says, that bothered him the rest of his life. Him saying that because the plane crashed then after that.
That would be a big regret of mine. If I told a guy I hope his plane crashes and then it crashes, that'd stick with me a little bit.
Oh, my God.
I'm not the most sensitive guy, but even that would get to me.
I hope so. Otherwise, you have no soul. And then the other guy in the band was a guy named Tommy Alsip, was the guitar player for Buddy Holly. And he was getting ready to get on the plane, and Buddy said to Richie Valens, hey, man, you can't get on that bus. It's too cold. I know you're afraid to fly. Why don't you flip a coin? So Tommy Alsip said, I'll do that. So they flipped a coin, and Richie Valens won the coin toss.
Okay.
And then Richie said, I'm sorry, Tommy. I'd never won a coin toss in my life. He goes, okay, buddy, enjoy the plane. He gets on the plane, he dies.
So La Bamba died.
No. What'd you say? Oh, La Bamba died. Richie Valens, yes.
Buddy Holly died.
Buddy Holly died.
Did the Big Bopper die?
He died too.
Oh, my God. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so...
Rest in peace.
So there's a song called, The Day the Music Died.
Yeah.
That's what that's about.
Okay.
Because that guy was young who wrote that song at the time. His name is failing me right now. John McClane. It's like, I'm thinking John McClane, but that's...
Is it John McCain? Did John McCain write the
It's
song?
not John McCain, the former... guy wanted to be president. It's not John McClane from Die Hard. What's his name? Who wrote that song? I'm drawing a blank. I know all these other facts. I can't get that one.
Don McClane.
Don McClane. Thank you. Wrote that song.
That's the American Pie song, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Bye, bye, Miss American Pie. Rode the Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry.
And what would it sound like if the Big Bopper had sang that song?
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.
15 minutes away from a major concert announcement, 7 a.m. We will have that for you, and we'll have the first pair of tickets for this artist. And we're telling you it's major because it's big. It's big. It's really big. It's huge. It's Brian and Kenzie here on Q101. We have a lot to unpack with the last break there. If you're with the show, we just did some facts about Leap Day, and one of them was that Buddy Holly's glasses were found in 1980, 20 years after the accident, the plane crash that killed him. And that's something that happened on Leap Day in 1980. Maybe not the biggest important thing ever, but they found him 20 years later in the field because the plane crashed right after takeoff in the field. And then I laid out a bunch of facts about Buddy Holly and the Big Bopper. I said, because the Big Bopper died then, and he sounded kind of like...
And I want to hear what the real Big Bopper sounded like.
Here's what he sounded like. Okay, here's the Big Bopper from 60-something years ago.
Hello, babe. Yeah, this is the Big Bopper speaking.
Do you ever hear rock music from this era? Like, I really like Del Shannon. He's like a guy from the 60s. I really like his era of, his sound of music. But
Yeah.
Do you ever hear, 60s rock and then think about 21 Pilots and think, how did we get here?
Yeah.
So much had to change.
But there had to be these guys for those guys.
Yes, I mean, I'm glad they existed, but it sounds so archaic sometimes.
Well, it's just a different time. Like, no one did anything. Everything was first.
Yeah.
So he thought this was I'm going to go talk like... Then I'm trying to think of someone that might sound like this in today's world. I thought, hello, baby.
Is this what Jelly Roll sounds like? Is
Maybe.
this the modern adaptation?
That's a very good analogy.
I know,
there
pretty
you go.
good at this.
Yeah, there you go. Also, we went down a wormhole of Ja Rule was born today.
That's right.
A lot of people came at me for thinking he's not in Fast and Furious. Yes, he's in the first movie. But also, Brad checked in. Ja Rule was the racer that yells, Monica. I said Menage. Okay, he does yell Monica because that's the girl he would have a threesome with if he won the race. However, then he does yell at one point, Menage! Because he was getting his ass kicked and he was upset that the menage a trois was going to go away.
So, again, spoiler alert, I apologize. I've never seen any Fast and Furious movies, but you're telling me Ja Rule doesn't get a threesome in the Fast and Furious?
I'm sorry to say. In real life, probably several.
My man.
Yeah, but not so.
That sucks. I'm so sorry to hear that for Ja Rule.
I also mentioned that the Fast and Furious franchise is the best ever, and Case brought up Star Wars, and a texter called in, Star Wars 815. Star Wars is trash with the garbage can emoji on the text line.
It's really emphatic when he puts the emoji there.
It is. Now listen, I am a huge Star Wars person, big nerd, all that. I just, and I'll probably change my mind tomorrow. I'll probably say Star Wars and The Godfather were better than Fast and Furious. But just right now, today, I feel like that.
All right.
Also, we talked about the Salem witch trial started today in the 1600s on Leap Day. One of our witch experts, 224, checked in. William Griggs was a doctor that claimed they were possessed because Case brought up the great question. How did someone just say that woman's a witch and we're going to burn her?
Yeah, because I know pointy hats, I know black cats and brooms, etc., but I don't think the women were just walking around looking like that at the time.
if someone did that today, I think we'd say like, hey, that guy needs some Xanax and some medication.
At least I don't know a lot of things in this world, but I know that's a witch.
So one of our witch experts said William Griggs was a doctor in Salem Village, Massachusetts. He's best known as the doctor who diagnosed the Salem villagers as possessed during the Salem witch trials.
Interesting.
Now, this was his job. Griggs was in charge of diagnosing and determining, quote, how much of a witch they were. Griggs claimed that the, quote, afflicted girls were under an evil hand, meaning the devil. Mm-hmm. But you see a picture of this guy? He did not get laid at all, this guy.
No, you're kidding.
So
another guy took out anger on women by calling them witches.
There he is. So then we just kind of followed up with all of that last break. Remember, 10 minutes away. Big concert announcement, Q101.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101 coming up in 8 minutes, 7 a.m. Big concert announcement, huge. And we'll have tickets for that show, too. So you'll be the first person in. We'll play some songs of that artist, all at 7 a.m. So stay here with Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Lauren O'Neill coming in, filling in for Kenzie during maternity leave in a minute, too. Also, more on this early subject of, since it's Leap Day, the things that happened on this day. The Salem witch trials started back in the 1600s, and Michaela Padilla checked in. I don't know, she says, from what she understands, the Salem witch trials started when 2 girls got sick for about a month because their parents brought in a doctor whose diagnosis was witchcraft. Then a bunch of other young women came forward saying that they were possessed by the devil or evil spirit. So we might not have to blame, we can blame the doctor because he probably was shunned by women because he wasn't a good-looking man. He did not get laid, this guy, back in the 1600s or the 1800s or whatever.
But it sounds like it was a misdiagnosis. Like they had the flu and he said the devil had possessed them.
Yeah. Sometimes, listen, when I had the flu and was throwing up everywhere, you'd look at me and go, geez.
That guy's a witch.
Yeah, something like that. Also, we brought up Buddy Holly. His glasses were found in 1980, 20 years after the crash that killed him and Richie Valens, La Bamba, and the Big Bopper, who, Case brought up a point like, how did this come about, this style of him going, burr, 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 burr. And a listener accurately said, if you want to try to get a today comparison, it's a little dated still, but he's still alive today and performing. Shaggy is the Big Bopper. God. Chantilly lace. I could see if Shaggy ever said in an interview that I was influenced by the Big Bopper, I'd buy it.
Oh my God, yeah. I can't tell them apart.
I can see it. I can see that. All right, so coming up, that concert announcement first, it is Gil Curtis with your headlines.
This is not headline news. Today is Leap Day, which only happens every 4 years. Like your barber changing that blue water he puts combs in. And like your dentist updating the magazines in the waiting room. Apple has canceled plans to build a self-driving electric car. Reportedly, the recharging cable kept wearing thin right next to the connection part. PlayStation is laying off 900 employees. On the bright side, now they'll have more time to play video games. Macy's is closing 150 of their underperforming stores. It took a while to tell employees none could be found on the sales floor. Research shows obesity is linked to poor memory, specifically when they forgot to exercise. This is not headline news.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.